So I want to take a second to acknowledge everybody in the room for taking some time out of their busy days to spend some time with us. This is Agent Evolution, and it's a talk. It's a talk about personal power. I'm Justin Haynes. I'm a mortgage loan officer in one of my masks, my hats. I'm a spiritual adventurer and a nonconformist, and I like to have a lot of fun, and I've got a lot of great relationships in my life. And you are? Who is this handsome
I'm
gentleman?
Justin Thorstad, and kind of what he said, that was put eloquently. Broker owner of Libertas Real Estate.
Yeah. It's good to be with you today.
Likewise.
Yeah.
And my appreciation to all of you for deciding to make investment in yourself and investment in time to come learn something new.
Speaking of why.
Why do we do this?
Yeah. Our vision is to shift the consciousness of society, humanity. We believe that anyone can achieve enlightenment through the normalcy of life, the everyday stuff.
Absolutely. So we share with people how to think differently.
Yeah. So, bottom line is, we teach people how to create whatever it is that you want to create. So the question then becomes,
Why are you here?
why are you? Dig deep. What moved you to be present today? Anybody care to share?
Why did you decide to come today?
So I have a request of you today. I'm pretty sure it's my only request today.
Well, I have one separate from
You
yours.
going? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so possibly two requests today. One of them is to be open. Albert Einstein once said, "The mind that opens to a new idea can never return to its original size." So I ask that you take everything in your mind that you think this is and shelf it and be completely open and present.
My request is to participate. There's going to be some opportunities to participate in what we're talking about. And I can say this, the people that do participate get way more value from the experience. So participate in what we're talking about. And again, what you said, participate in just being present, open-mindedness.
Mm-hmm. Love it. So what this is and what this is not, let's talk a little bit about that for a second. This is not a rah-rah, who can knock the most doors, who can make the most cold calls type of up your Zillow ad spend budget course. That's not what we're talking about today. We're not going to talk about conversion. We're not going to talk about Boomtown. We're not talking about hiring dialers in Nicaragua.
How to do better open houses.
Yeah, that's not what this is today. But what this is an understanding that everything you have and that you need to be successful is already within you. And in other words,
You're already enough.
you have it. Everything that you need. So let me give you a little bit of a little bit more in-depth context around what this journey is that led me to standing on this stage before all of you. I would say my early 20s, I had developed an awareness that somebody could live a life a little bit different than I was. And that life looked fantastic. It looked really cool. And so much so that I was moved to action to ask the question to this guy. And I said, "What do you do for a living? You seem like you have a killer life." "Oh, I'm a loan officer." I said, "What the heck is that? I don't know what that is." So he explained it to me. And I said, "Well, can I learn how to do that? Can you teach me?" And then I was in his office the following Monday, learning how to be a loan officer. And so I learned very quickly that I didn't really know what I was doing, and neither did the people that I was learning from. So came 2008. Anybody in the crowd know about 2008? Okay, so I remember distinctly a time where I couldn't pay any of my bills. It's in my awareness, and I remember being at an ultimate low. This was the holidays, and it was a tough time. I was paying my credit cards with my other credit cards and hoping that it wouldn't go over the limit. I was answering the door when they took my car away, the repo guys, because I couldn't afford to pay it. I remember what that was like. And I went to a class. I went to a self-help seminar. It was through osmosis, something that I was up to, and I got an invite, and so I went to it, and something popped in my awareness during this seminar. It was to the extent that you're an average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and that if you want a different result, hang with people who have the result you want. I kind of subconsciously did that when I got into the mortgage business, right? But I learned from all the wrong people. I learned quickly that there was no depth or substance there. But fast forward, the self-help seminar caused me to take a look around at the people I was spending my time with. And I had to ask myself, do they have what I want in my life? The answer was no. And so I decided to start hanging out with people who had results that I wanted in my life, in my business, my personal life. And a common consensus, a lot of them spent good money to have a coach. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do that too. They pushed me and they said, you got to get a coach. I said, all right, I'll do it. And then it took me down this rocket ship ride in the last 6 years of personal development that caused me to just make massive shifts in my life, my business, the way I show up in the world. And how I started was not that way. Like the contrast in where I started and where I'm at right now was so big that I knew we had a message. I knew I had to talk about this. And so I'm standing here today.
Yeah. I started off 21-year-old in this business. The reason I got into real estate was because I want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
That was my end result. Like, I want to make a lot of money so that I had enough money to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it, who I wanted to do it with. Like actual liberty financially. So I thought, I'm just going to get into real estate, learn about real estate investing, and I'll sell some houses on the side, just to kind of give me some income while I invest. I had no money. I had no education. But I figured, hey, let's give it a shot. Things can't get much worse at this point in my life because I had no money, newly married, kid, and I remember having to go to my in-laws and ask for $100 so I could buy groceries.
And that was probably pretty traumatic.
It was a very humbling time in my life. Yeah. So I saw an ad for real estate, and I thought, that's the ticket, man.
Yeah, you got in this business. And what was it like when you first got in?
It was horrible. I was knocking on doors and cold calling and anything and everything I could do to get deals. And if you were to look at my career, it would be this like slow trajectory of growth, and then all of a sudden, bam, it just spiked. So about 3 years ago, I was doing really well in business, but I just knew I was hitting a ceiling. My marriage was in the toilet. My business was stalled. I was doing well, but I just hit the ceiling. I just couldn't go any further. I didn't know what else to do. And
you had built a sizable real estate business.
Yeah, like just me, myself. That year I had done 61 transactions. Just me.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
The wheel's going to fall off the bus somewhere.
Exactly, and I was already feeling it,
Of course.
And I did have an assistant stuff, but I didn't have a team of agents contributing to that number of sales.
Yeah.
Someone introduced to me same course Justin's talking about, a 3-day. By the way, we're not here to sell that course. It's to illustrate a point. And that point is, I knew I needed new information to elevate my level of thinking. I didn't know where to go for that. Somebody came to me when I was feeling I needed something. I attracted it. And so that sparked this 3-year journey of doing classes and reading books and masterminding with people and surrounding myself with others that think the same, and we elevate each other.
Absolutely.
So going from just a singular agent to now owning my own real estate brokerage in a very short amount of time. And the reason I'm here is to share with you my story and how I made those shifts in hopes that you could apply the same thing to your life and create some amazing results.
Yeah, I mean, what the transition looked like, how that shift occurred.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff, and we're super excited to be here today. So let's talk about, real quick, I'm going to let you take it, because you're so good at this. Let's chat about some concepts to growth.
This is $20,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Okay. I'd like everybody to think of something that they really want. You've been wanting this for a while now. It's been on your mind. You really want this thing that you currently don't have. When that comes to mind, think of 5 different reasons why you currently don't have that thing that you want.
So, get really present for a second. Calm down that external dialogue and really think about something that you really want, and give some reasons why you believe you don't have it.
It could be that family trip to Italy. It could be that income goal that you have. It could be anything. Something you've really been wanting, you don't currently have. So take a moment and just write down 5 reasons why you think you don't have that. Fast forward. Okay, so remember in the beginning, my expectation of you was to participate, yes? Okay, great. So we're going to do a little exercise. And what I have is a $20 bill. Is this for... Yeah, great. Okay. So what I'd like to know about my $20 bill from all of you
Let me
is...
see that. Okay.
Real?
I agree with it.
Okay, cool. Who would like to trade me a $1 bill for my $20 bill? Who would like to trade me? And what I want you to do is just notice what you're thinking. Notice what you're noticing. Who would like to trade me their $1 bill for my $20 bill? What's the return on that? Like 200% or something?
I was never good with math.
It's an amazing return on investment.
I hire people that are better at math than I am to run mortgage
But
business.
you know, like if you could do this all day, you'd keep trading me ones for my 20s, right?
All day.
Okay, so who wants to trade me? $1 for my 20. Fast forward. All right, somebody came out, got it. Thank you so much. Are you keeping my 20? Yeah, of course you are. Okay. So before you go, could you just explain to everybody what was your experience there? Like what were the thoughts that went through your mind during that experience? Fast forward. Okay, thank you so much. Give him a hand. Have a seat. Who else wants to share? What did you experience in that? What was the thought process? What were the thoughts that came into your mind?
Okay.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks for being bold and authentic and vulnerable.
So, the last one, once I get a couple, and I'll tell them, so let's do the catch, right? What was the catch? Fantastic. Welcome to your life.
Yeah, we're on it, and if we take a step back, where else is that showing up?
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Not having a dollar to come up and take advantage of the opportunity. Where else does that show up that you don't have the money or resources in your life to take advantage of opportunities in front of you?
So, it really begs the question. And the question is, who or what is running you? And I would like to take a second to give a warm introduction to your obnoxious roommate.
That person.
Meet your programs. So let's talk a second about programs. What is this word? Well, it's a mode of operation, right? And let's dive in on how programs work, how they're formed, how they run you, how they dictate your results. We want to maybe share with them a diagram here.
Yeah. So, what your experience was with the $20 bill exercise there, like what's the catch, right? That's a program. Something comes up, seems too good to be true, what's the catch? That's a program.
So good way of tying that, absolutely.
Yeah. So how do these programs work? And ultimately, how are they driving your life?
Yeah.
Right? Because the truth of the matter is, your programs determine your results.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's how this works. When you're born, and as a small child, your subconscious mind is wide open. Now you get some programming genetically. I mean, that's why you look like some of your relatives and ancestors.
And why I look like Jesus. Just kidding. Just, I mean, hello. Hello.
Okay, so
That's beautiful.
programmed genetically, and also our environment. So if you think about it, who was around you the most as a child? Like who were you around? Was it mom? Was it dad? Was it aunts? Grandma, grandpa? Chances are you have a lot of behaviors like they have.
My
You
mom,
were
my
around
dad, my evil chihuahua.
Yeah, you were around them the
think
most.
that's-
So you picked up like a sponge their mannerisms, how they acted, how they responded to things. It created your self-image
Yeah.
and what they had to say to you.
Honestly, now that I think about you saying this right now, like, I've always had this fear of, like, wolves and coyotes. And I think it stemmed from when I was a baby and we had a very vicious chihuahua. And, you know, I would be lying to say if I said hadn't gotten bit by that thing quite a few times as a little baby. Now I go out in the woods and I'm afraid that there's wolves everywhere, man. So programmed. I'm so glad that we got to share this moment, process through this.
Bam, son. Okay, so as a child, when you start developing that self-image and this programming, you also develop your conscious mind, the bottom of your subconscious mind. So the conscious mind, that's where we have our five senses, right? We perceive the world through our senses. So we hear, see, smell, taste, and touch, right? Yeah. Okay, so it's disruptive.
Yeah, so your programs are made right here, and this is your.
Yeah, so energy comes to us, right? And we perceive things through our five senses. But we also have 6 higher mental faculties that we can use to think with. And that's the will, perception, imagination, intuition, and reason, logic. So we can think any thoughts that we want, but the thing is, we're only going to think thoughts that are in harmony with our programs. So whatever our programs are, let's call them X-type, we're only going to think X-type thoughts because they match the programming. So here's why this is so important. Based on that program, it sets up your attitude. Your attitude is a compilation of your thoughts, your emotions, right?
Yeah.
Which determine your behavior. So the program, in essence, sets up the body, the action the body's going to take.
Okay.
Okay? When you take action, law of the universe, right? There's an equal and opposite reaction. That reaction is an alteration of your current circumstances, conditions, and environment. We call it a result. So here's where people get mixed up. So again, the programming determines the behavior and therefore the action we take, which gives us a reaction. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Most people think, oh, okay, so I don't like the result I'm getting, right? I'm not making the kind of money I want to make. Okay, great. So let me change the action I'm taking.
Okay.
Let me work harder.
Let me spend more money on Zillow?
Yeah, let me just grind this out. I'm going to work 18-hour days. I'm going to sacrifice this for that. I'm going to grind it out.
Let me up my cold calls from 200 to 400?
Yeah, let me just get some shit done, man. I just got to do the work.
Yeah.
You know?
Up at 3:30 a.m.
Like, just go harder.
Hustling?
Hustle.
Okay.
Right. So I'll change the action to get a different result.
Yeah, okay.
You can. You'll have a temporary new result. Because that model of operating, of just changing that action, is not sustainable. For lasting change results, you've got to change the program.
Okay, so what you're saying is if you just change the behavior, I'm going to double my phone calls, and I'm going to double my door knocks, and I'm going to triple my Zillow ad spend budget. That's just changing the behavior that's not sustainable.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you want permanent change and growth and a different result, change the paradigm.
The belief behind it.
Yeah, exactly. So here's an example. When I was a singular agent, 1 year I did 24 deals, right? And I thought this paperwork, this calling this and doing that, ordering a signpost and pictures, like all that stuff is taking a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if I just work more, if I change my action, I'll get a different result. I'll be able to get more business. Because the programming was, I can't pawn all that stuff on to somebody else because they won't do it as good as me. And if I pawn it off on somebody else and they mess it up, then I'm responsible for it.
Yeah.
So I'll just work more and I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
So I changed the programming because I was coming from scarcity. I didn't want to have to afford that because that was a lot of money, and I
That's
wasn't
scary.
certain that I was going to be
That's
successful
scary.
with
You
them.
had something in there that was keeping you away from it. It was fear.
Exactly. So when I changed the program, let me come from abundance, that if I get all this stuff off my plate, that buys back all my time. I can go do what I love to do, and that generates me business. I'll get a different result.
And happiness.
Yeah. So I didn't change my action, I changed my programming from scarcity on money to abundance, and that somebody could do my job better than me.
Yeah. So
The truth matter is I sucked at paperwork, so anybody could have done it better.
So by shifting in here, it changed your behavior, which produced a better result.
Yes. So shifting my program, I took a different action that got me the result I was looking for.
And what we know is Wayne Dyer, a great philosopher. I mean, this stuff has been around for a while.
Yeah, we're not making this up. Like, it's not
translated in different, generations and philosophies and languages. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so you started observing a situation or circumstance. You started to change the way that you looked at it, and then ultimately, you ended up producing a better result in your life.
Exactly.
So the question is, this right here is what I want to know. Results. I want you to take and dive inside and talk to yourself for a second about where, start an internal dialogue about where you have a result and whether or not it's a result that you want.
And if I can add this, when it comes to looking at the results you have in your life, you really have to, it would serve you to understand that the only way we can judge is based on results. So the faster you get to just owning what is, your results, the more you can take an honest look at that and say, is that what I really want? Because until there's a desire to change it, none of this means anything.
Very good point. I'm glad you added that. So as you go inside, I would challenge you to ask yourself, and where else is a result that you don't desire? So,
Your relationships,
yeah,
your business,
your finances.
your body.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a huge one.
Mm.
So it might be, as we go inside and we take a real honest look and we're vulnerable with ourselves, is it time for you to update your model of reality? Is it time for you to get that next iOS update? Buckminster Fuller, he said it best. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that creates the old, that makes the old existing model obsolete. And that's what we're talking about here. It's making that shift.
A new model of reality.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take you into a great journey here. This one is near and dear to my heart, for a variety of reasons. And it's a program that exists in a lot of people, including myself at times. If I'm being vulnerable and honest. And what I want you to see here is something I call the victim responsible scale. So let's look at a scale, right? So on one side of the scale is one result, and on the other side is the opposite result. All right, so here's a scale, right? And on this side of the scale, we have victim. And then on the opposite side of the scale, we have responsible. Okay? Now, the victim side of the scale here can be defined as powerless, right? And then the opposite is powerful. And Justin, you made a really, really good observation that this side is not in control, out of control, right? So you are out of control. And then on this side, you are in control. Okay?
It's like victim is reaction
Yeah.
versus responsible, which is initiate.
Yeah, I love that.
Or respond.
So victim
Respond
is
or
reaction versus
respond or initiate.
respond. Right? And yeah, I mean, reaction is totally out of control. I just react. Right? I just react. The person makes me so mad, I just snap at him.
Yeah.
Right? Just react. Out of control. Right? On the other side is you respond. Where you've got that space and somebody says something and you just have a second and you think about what's going to best serve everyone here. And you respond with power. Right? So two opposite ends. And what this path looks like in here is your choices and beliefs about the circumstance. And you also mentioned this circumstances
Conditions.
and environment.
Yeah.
Right? So, in your beliefs and choices about your circumstances, conditions, and environment is what can move you from being in a powerless state to a powerful state. And if what we are up here truly preaching and lecturing on here is about having everything we need internally to create what we want externally, that would be, you would need to be on this side, in the powerful. I mean, can we agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me give you I'm going to give you a circumstance or environment, a condition through a story here. I mean, this came to me when I was reading the John Maxwell. Like, oh my God, this will fit in here perfectly. For those of you in the crowd who want to look this up, it's called Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters. You can Google it and you can get all of the, and it's not very long. It's 5 short chapters that are probably like a sentence apiece. And so it really illustrates what a certain circumstance looks like in the mindset of evolving from victim to responsible and powerful, right? So picture a person, the circumstance here, picture a person walking down the street, right? They're walking, okay? And then picture a gigantic hole in the street, okay? This is your circumstance, this is your environment, this hole might be the condition, right? Right? So chapter 1, we're going to start this off. Chapter 1, I walk down a street, there is a deep hole in the sidewalk, right? I fall in, I'm helpless, it isn't my fault, it takes forever to find its way out. It takes forever for me to find my way out, right? It's not my fault. Not my fault. It takes forever to change. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend that I don't see it. I fall in again. I cannot believe that I'm in the same place. Is it my fault? It takes a long time to get out. Is it my fault? Chapter 3. Stay with me, folks. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am, right? I'm accepting where I'm at. I'm aware that I'm creating it. I'm accepting that. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Better result, right?
Because we're responsible.
Yeah. I did this.
I got me here.
I did this. I'm responsible. Imagine the power of that. You can change. It's beautiful. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around. Right?
Oh, so wait, you mean you can be responsible for your actions?
Yeah. Now I have a result that I desire. It's that I didn't fall in the hole today.
Yay!
Chapter 5, I just walked down a different street, man. I'm out of here. So you can see in this one circumstance, condition, environment, right, this person walking with a hole, and how the beliefs and choices, the beliefs that drive it, and then the choices that are made as the behavior of the beliefs, the subconscious, as that evolves, so does the result.
Yeah.
That's a really, really basic story. So I want to give you...
I think it illustrates beautifully, though, that what you're saying, Justin, is that this is a shift and it's a progression, just like the autobiography. It was, at first, I'm a victim, I'm powerless, this is out of my control, my circumstances, conditions, environment, the hole in the ground. I didn't put it there, somebody put it my way, I fell in,
It's
I give
not
all my
my fault.
power away
It's not my fault.
to everything outside of me.
Yeah.
However, over time, you realize that you can start being responsible for your situation until ultimately you create a completely different result called a different path,
Yeah.
which is a creative process.
I love
That's
that.
tying back in later.
So, victim, responsible, where does that show up in your life? Sit there and think about it. Where does that show up in your life? And I'm going to get vulnerable right now, and I'm going to give you my best victim story. So, it's still sometimes a little bit tough to articulate it. It's, it was a rough situation. But the story goes that I, 4.5, 5 years ago, I brought on somebody who knew nothing about the mortgage business. This young, well-spoken guy, great person, I see, right? I bring into the business, and I, help grow him and help him, lead him in a direction in which he eventually, becomes the captain of the ship and is running the show, and we talk about these big visions of stuff that we're creating together and these places that we're going together. And, my life had a series of circumstances that changed, and we decided that we needed to move mortgage companies. We decided it was no longer in alignment. And, I'm like, all right, we got this. I got my right hand, I never have to worry about anything. I leave the country for 3 weeks and go climb mountains in Africa. I know he's got it. It's good. I never have to worry about anything. And so transition's gonna be no problem, right? And then I get the call one day that he's not coming with. And I was like, what do you mean? How could you not come with? I thought you were in it for the long haul. I thought you had my back on this. And he decided to go out and be a competitor. And I gave 4.5 years of my life helping him get to where he's at. How could he leave? And how could he bail on me? I can't believe he would bail on me. And it's because of him that I had all this stress in my life through this tough transition. because of him. The circumstance here is him. And the power, he's controlling everything. It's his fault. He's in power. And it took me some time processing through a lot of this stuff. I went to some dark places, had some good conversations with my coaches, and we decided to start working up action plans and putting together a transition. And I started feeling better about it and a little bit more accepting of the situation. But I still still left me, And as we dig deeper and deeper, I start realizing that we had this conversation when he first told me that he was going to leave, and he's like, I'm so grateful you brought me into the business and you inspired me to go out and believe in myself so that I could go do this on my own. And so as I dug really deep to the fiber of my being, and I said, what do I want to be known for? Who am I? What's my truth? I want to be the guy that people have a shift, some kind of shift that betters their life. I want to be that guy. And when I really got in on my truth, I realized that I created that. I was powerful being in my truth, such that I've inspired somebody to spread their wings and leave the nest. And remember, when that conversation, I didn't even hear him say that. I was so much wearing my victim glasses that I didn't even hear that part. I only heard what supported my belief of being victim. That's the only stuff I heard. And when I dug really deep, I realized I'm so powerful and in my truth that this is going to be a regular occurrence, that people get inspired. And so you can see how one circumstance, condition, environment led me from one end of the spectrum to the other by shifting my beliefs and paradigms around the situation. So I challenge you to dig deep on this victim story that you have and see what it would look like to move to that place that we call power. This is one of my favorite lines in any book that I've ever read by Neil Goddard, The Power of Awareness from 1952. Guys, this stuff has been around a long time. Am I communicating? Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. That is saying that it is a complete fallacy to believe that our circumstances are caused by outside things. It's a complete fallacy. It's a delusion.
So you're saying this victim mentality is an illusion?
Yeah.
We live in it, some of us, sometimes, but it's really an illusion.
Yeah. So, I ask you this. If the awareness that we're bringing to light here is something true and powerful, it's true. What is the cost if you don't shift? If this absolutely exists in your life and you don't shift this, what are you possibly missing out on in your life?
If you don't take inventory of the programs that you have to realize that they're even there and break it down and discover what results each of those programs is creating, and is that supporting and serving your life or not, and so which ones are you going to change? What's the cost of not doing that work to make that shift?
So perfect self-expression.
So the question we have for you is this. If you could put all your programs aside, meaning right now in this moment, put all your limiting beliefs aside, we're giving you complete access to infinite amounts of money. You have infinite amount of time. So no limitations, no restrictions. What would you go do?
That's a great
So
question.
we're going to give you 5 minutes to take out your paper, something to write with, and write out. If money and time were no issue, what would you go do right now today?
Yeah.
Tomorrow? What kind of vacations would you take? What kind of meaning, lasting relationships would you create? What kind of charity would you involve yourself with? How would you give back? What would you do? So take 5 minutes and just start writing out. Don't stop. There's no right, wrong answer. Just whatever comes to mind, write it out.
And I want you to really be present here, because your goals and dreams absolutely matter.
This is important business right now. This is visioning your life. What do you really want?
That perfect self-expression. You never have to make a decision based on money or time ever again. Perfect self-expression, no restraints. Liberty.
Yeah, exactly. Complete liberty in your life. We're going to give you 5 minutes to start writing that out. Go.
So now that you have taken a couple minutes to write out what your ideal life would look like,
Oh, we need to shut the lights. Stop. And shut the lights. Everybody stop. Stop writing. Unfortunately, you ran out of time. You're dead.
it's gone.
End of story. Game over. So take inventory.
Who's going to read your eulogy?
What made it onto your paper?
What didn't? So there's some power in that. And I have a question to ask of you, and that is, what if what we're saying is actually true? Is your vision for life big enough to pull you forward to take the next step? And if it's not, I challenge you to go back and do this some quiet time in your own time and write something that does.
Because the cost that you're paying is never realizing what you did write down. By not making a shift, by not understanding this, applying it in your life, by not surrounding yourself with other people that think this way, the cost to you is realizing a lot of those things you wrote down.
And I would even challenge you to say, when was it in your life that you decided that you didn't matter?
When you decided that it was okay to give up on those things that you said you wanted.
That's the cost. And for me, I'm committed as hell to this path. Because what is in my brain about what I'm creating, you guys just watch.
And when you get connected with your path, I think you would agree, you would rather have the whole world against you than you against you.
I'm so far in my truth, it's incredible.
Because when you're on your path and you know your truth, you can create anything. I mean, we've shared just a little bit about kind of our journeys, not in depth, but
Yeah, anytime you want to sit down and talk about this further, I'm happy to go deep down the rabbit hole with you. Okay? I'll have you leaving that breakfast, that coffee, with some questions floating around in your mind. I can promise you that. So now what?
what's next?
So we took you on a journey. And some of you, you've got some things happening right now. And if that's the case, then that's a great indicator that you already have somewhat of an awareness that's developed around this. And I think that it would be absolutely the biggest waste for you to not take the next step. You're already further along than most. I want to leave you again with why we do what we do. And do you remember in Simon Sinek's Start With Why? He said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And I believe that we will shift the consciousness of humanity. We believe that anyone can achieve enlightenment through the normalcy of life. And for those of you who can get behind that message, send a text message Agent Evo to 77569 and you'll be on the invite list for part 2, where we take you into how to really start creating results.
Exactly. And we get into how to shift that programming. You're really going to have to reprogram your mind. The way it's currently programmed is creating the results you have now. Good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is what it is. If it's not producing results, you got to reprogram the mind. So we show you how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time today to sit with us through this talk, and we're going to make ourselves available after this to answer any questions that you might have.
Absolutely. And we have some feedback forms. And let me just say with those, we would sincerely appreciate your wholehearted, honest feedback. Whatever you write down is not going to hurt our feelings. We need to know really what you found valuable, what you didn't connect with, what didn't make sense. Any and all feedback you have, we would love to hear it no matter what.
I'm so glad you brought, I was totally going to forget that. So that feedback is absolutely super valuable to us. Reason being is we're living this, okay? We're experiencing it firsthand, and we are attempting to articulate what this is like for us. And sometimes we know what we're saying, but it's not being communicated as clear as it could. And I want to know what questions you have in those feedback forms as well. So please, guys, definitely leave us something on there. And again, we appreciate all of your time.
Thank you so much.